Hey friends, Karen Basket, DIYer here. Okay, you may be wondering why I'm standing out in the woods. Well, this happens to be my backyard, so lucky me. And I just kind of thought it went with the theme of what I've made today. So, you may know this, you may not. My first grandbaby is due in December, and I am so excited. My daughter-in-law asked me to make a custom sign for his room, and of course I said yes. I know you've seen me make signs in the past if you follow my channel. This one's special because it's for, like I said, my future grandbaby. But anyways, guys, I made this sign out of 100% reclaimed items, such as leftover cabinet wood, leftover shiplap from flip houses that my husband and I do. So, you know, just stay tuned, follow along, and I'll walk you through the steps and show you how I created this custom, super special sign. Okay, so I know how difficult it can be to try to save everything from every project that you've ever done, but my husband and I have a tendency to do that. We flip houses and just have a lot of things going on all the time. So when it comes to scrap wood, we save it because you never know when it's gonna come in handy. And that's exactly what's happening here. Guys, this is a piece of leftover shiplap from one of the flip houses. It's already been ripped once, so I am going to be creating my frame for this sign out of this piece of pine shiplap, okay? Then, when we had some cabinets installed in one of our flip houses, there was some cabinet backing left over. It's already primed white. It is perfectly good wood. And so that's what I'm gonna be using for the background of my sign. If my daughter-in-law wants it to be white, guess what? This is already painted white. If she decides she wants it to be black, which I'm actually waiting on a text back from her on background color, I can paint right over this black, or if I want to paint the wood side, I can just turn it over and paint that side. But anyways, I'm gonna be just ripping this down to the correct size, which she would like the sign to be 33 tall, 25 wide. So I'm gonna be ripping this down and be running this piece of shiplap through my table saw as well, taking the tongue off, ripping this in half to create my frame. So this is incredibly easy. And again, save those scraps because you never know when they're gonna come in handy. Here, I'm just marking my measurements. And you know, if you're making one of these, your measurements can be whatever you would like. You don't have to make yours the same size as mine. You know, everybody might like something different. Again, same with my frame pieces. This is 1x, so it's the perfect frame size if you ask me, but if you're using something larger, then you know, you may have to cut yours at different lengths when it comes to that. You may want to make your pieces wider. You know, these are probably 1.5 inches. I don't even know for sure what this is being ripped down to. I didn't measure that, but yeah, just be creative. All right, so I just got that piece of shiplap ripped, but it's not gonna be long enough for me to get the whole frame out of it. So I did find this 1x6, I believe it is, and so I'm gonna just go ahead and rip it down to size and cut it to create, you know, the rest of the frame. Now then, I'm just using my chop saw to cut the length for each board. Again, yours may be different, so I won't give you my exacts because I'm not a super exact measurer. My husband always laughs at me because not everything is perfect when I make it. I go for functionality, not perfection. Okay, and so I like to stain my frame pieces before I assemble them. That way, you know, there's just no raw wood pieces showing. So I'm going to be using this Old Masters wiping stain, and it is Dark Walnut. And I'm simply just applying it with some old shredded up pieces of a t-shirt. And I just do the whole entire piece of wood. That way, if I change my mind while assembling it, you know, flip it over to use the other side or whatever, it's already stained, nothing to worry about. And then if I do have to cover up any nail holes, it's just easy to go over, you know, just dab over it with a Q-tip or something with this stain. You know, in the intro of this video, I mentioned how I was standing out in the woods and the theme and all. I totally forgot to tell you that his room theme is woodland animals. So I really do think that this color of stain is perfect and will match the rest of his room really well. So while these stained pieces are drying, I'm gonna go run and paint my backboard. It is a beautiful 84 degrees out today, so I am working on this outside, painting it and just getting as much done as possible while I can because it's so nice out. So I'm just gonna be giving this a nice coat of black paint. And this is Black Panther. It's just another leftover. I'm gonna use that to just give it a quick coat of black because my daughter-in-law decided on a black background with a white W on it. So the W could be a little challenging because I'm awful at freehanding, so I'm gonna have to like create a stencil of some sort, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. And there's nothing really special about this paint. It's just a black latex paint. And I ended up doing 2 coats to get the proper coverage that I needed. So while my paint was drying, I decided to go assemble my frame. I have these fun little corner clamps that I use. They're kind of hard to get on sometimes because my hands aren't quite strong enough. But anyways, they just make it so much easier when assembling your frame. And I just used 1.5 inch straight nails there with my nail gun. Oops, I missed a spot staining. Looks like I'll have to go back and touch that up. But anyways, as you can see, it's just super easy to assemble the frame because of those corner clamps. I will link those for you in the description below. I got those off of Amazon. Okay, next I grabbed my piece of black wood that I painted. That is the back of it, that pre-painted side. And I just used 1 inch staples to attach that to the frame. Okay, and here's how it's looking so far. Next, I had to get creative. I used my Cricut and I had some painter's paper and I ran that through my Cricut. I dissected the W in my Cricut Design Space and just made it much easier to cut because obviously you can only cut, you know, up to a certain size with your Cricut. So then I had to use painter's tape and tape all my pieces together to create a stencil. And then I just used a pencil and a straight edge to go ahead and trace out my W. It was pretty interesting, as you can see how it went. Once I got my W traced out, I grabbed just some latex white paint that I had already, and I thought it would be a really great idea to just kind of fill in the W for the most part and try to very carefully, you know, stay within the lines. That was way more difficult than I thought. as you can see here, yeah, I kind of gave up on that. So the next morning I got smart and I taped off everything. This was a bajillion times easier. Not sure why I chose such a tiny paintbrush, but I guess it's because it's the one I was using the day before and I was just trying to be super precise. But this worked really well, and then I just quickly removed my tape while the paint was all still wet, just being super careful not to let it bounce back and land on my black areas. But overall, I got super crisp lines from this. I did have tiny little places to touch up, but that was no big deal. I was able to use that little tiny brush again and just touch it up. I am absolutely in love with this. I think it turned out so great. I think my daughter-in-law, well, I hope she loves it. I think I'm going to sign the back of it from, Love, Did, and Pops with a special note on there for our little grandbaby. But you guys, this was really easy. Again, save those scrap pieces of wood because you just never know when you're going to use them again. If you have not seen any of my other woodworking projects in the past, make sure you go back and watch them. I have a lot of fun ideas. I really appreciate you watching. I hope that you were encouraged by this tutorial and that you will maybe give one of these signs a try for yourself. So anyways, thanks so much for watching, and be on the lookout for future tutorials and DIYs. Thanks again for watching.